Well, time for another Finance Friday. Joining us, as always, Dave Schurman of First Ontario Credit Union. And once again, Dave, we have some viewer questions for you to answer. But before we do that, yeah, looking good.
Ready to go.
And I wanted to thank you for helping out with our toy drive. You're looking after the e-transfers. How are things going on that end?
Great. There's over $5,000 now contributed by very generous CHCH viewers. So keep the funds coming. You got another week, and certainly hats off to CHCH for doing this every year. We all know there's some less fortunate families out there that certainly we could all put a smile on some child's faces if there was a few toys under the tree.
Absolutely, and more details on the toy drive at chch.com and First Ontario's contribution. Okay, Amber has a question about our RESPs. She writes, Dave, we are beginning family planning and would like to understand more about RESPs. Can we open an RESP before our child is born? Also, what happens to the RESP if the child does not choose to go to post-secondary school? Thanks for your help.
Well, thanks, Amber. And again, very good questions. It's great that you're doing some planning to have some kids and also doing some planning for education, because we all know how expensive that gets. You can never start too early. Unfortunately, though, you do have to wait until the child's born before you can open an RESP. Reason is that the child's actually named the beneficiary on an RESP. Now, you could, start a savings account, even a tax-free savings account in your own name, of course, and then transfer it to the RESP. But once a child's born, the RESP is certainly the best option to save for a child's education. A couple of big reasons for that. First, it grows tax-free until the child's going to need it. The other, of course, big one is that the government provides a grant every year on your contribution, so that's free money. So you certainly want to take advantage of that. And then the question about what happens if the kid doesn't go to school after, I wouldn't worry about that. Again, a couple of things. An RESP can stay open for 36 years after you first open it. So even a kid after high school that chooses to work, that they've had enough of school for a while, there's a good chance that they will change their mind in a few years and to go back to school. Many people think that an RESP is only for college, university. It can be used for trade schools. It can be used for upgrading courses in the job that you have. So there's lots of other uses. So don't worry about not using the RESP. I'm sure that the child will find a way to use it.
Okay, and thanks again, Amber, for that question. Diane from Hamilton asked this question about group RRSPs. What can you do with a group RRSP from a former employer? I received a statement of how my group RRSP has been performing. I would greatly appreciate some options on what I can do and should do with these funds.
Well, thank you for that, Diane. Again, we get a lot of questions on group RSPs, and really they're not a whole lot different than an individual RSP. You really have the same options with them. The advantage of a group RSP, of course, is that it's set up by an employer and administered by an employer through a third-party, generally mutual fund provider, an insurance company. Benefits to the individual are less expenses, less management expense ratios on those mutual funds. So less expense to you means more return on your RSP. And the other big advantage, of course, it comes directly off your pay. The employer a lot of times matches, so that helps as well. But when you leave an employer, and Diane, there's more to her email. She actually has a new employer now. But when you leave an employer, you can leave that group RSP there. You don't have to take it out. You can still get the advantage of the lower fees. It will grow. You can also transfer it to your new employer if they have a plan. So there's options.
Okay, very quickly, because we have like 30 seconds left for Jay's question. Jay in Hamilton submitted this question again about group RRSP contributions. My employer has a group RRSP plan. I contribute 3% of my income and they match it. If I want to contribute more, they will also match 50% on the next 2%. And I'm being solicited by the fund provider to also make additional contributions, but the employer doesn't match. What should I do?
Well, Jay, certainly take advantage of every dollar you can that the employer matches, or even 50%. Again, some people don't do that, but if I were to put $1 into a savings account and my employer says I'll give you 50 cents on that, take advantage of it. That's like a 50% guaranteed return, and you're going to get investment return on it. In terms of optional contributions, again, it's like putting money into your own RSP. You get the tax savings and your savings for retirement. So take advantage as much as you can of certainly all of the employer matches and the optional if you can.
Okay, thanks for that question, Jay. Email your questions to Dave at financefriday@firstontario.com or through Twitter at finance_Friday. And you could win stuff, including Hamilton Bulldog tickets and a gift card from a local business. Have a great Grey Cup weekend, Dave.
Thank you, Bob. Go Tiger Cats.